All right, so stormy week, stormy weather to jeopardize Father's Day weekend plans in Northeast Ohio. Let's take a current look at our infrared satellite. Thankfully, the bulk of this moisture is pushed off into the Atlantic. We did see earlier today lots of moisture move across Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Arkansas, Missouri. Guess what? That's reloading right behind us right now as we're speaking. So those same areas that had lots of moisture, once again, we'll see threats for showers in the coming days. Let's focus on Ohio and the Northeast. It seems like it's their turn now to get all of this heavy rain, flooding. Outdoor plans and sporting events will be in jeopardy as lightning risk downpours spread from Ohio Valley to the Northeast this weekend into next week. Saturday will be the better half of the weekend for anyone looking to spend time outside most of the Northeast. Away from the St. Lawrence Valley and eastern Great Lakes, any rain or thunderstorms will hold off until after Saturday in the Northeast. The weekend will otherwise start on a warmer note with humidity remaining comfortable. Widespread highs in the lower 80s are anticipated from the West Virginia to Virginia, southeastern Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. New England should be breezy and pleasant on Saturday, according to the AccuWeather meteorologist Rob Richards. Temperatures across most of the region will climb into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Clouds mixing with sunshine, however, will signal that the nice and dry weather will not be there to stay. A cold front will move across the Northeast slowly this weekend. This is the second cold front in the last 4 days that the Northeast and the Ohio Valley has experienced. And it's June 14th. And my temperature reading today in my car said 64, but folks, that wind, when it blew, it definitely did not feel like we were in the 60s. More like a mid-March, early April afternoon, in my opinion. If we would have had a little bit of rain, it would have been pretty raw and nasty. So here we go. A cold front will move across the Northeast slowly this weekend. Showers and thunderstorms rumbling through St. Louis, Chicago, and Detroit can reach Columbus, Cincinnati, Ohio, Erie, Pennsylvania, Buffalo, and Syracuse, New York on Saturday afternoon. The storminess will continue to push eastward Saturday night and into Sunday as higher humidity surges northward. While the entire day may not be a washout, a shower or thunderstorm can disrupt outdoor activities for a fraction of Father's Day from Boston to New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. Thunderstorms are expected to rain north of Richmond, Virginia, but residents will still have to deal with sticky conditions. That's due to all of the humidity. But check out the widespread flooding. Unfortunately, folks, if you're watching from the Dayton area, Salina, you are in that widespread flood risk for Saturday through Monday. And I tell you what's tragic, and this is the common problem across the United States right now. Areas that have been hit with disastrous weather events like flooding or tornadoes are still in the cleanup process. And folks, I've just seen recent video. They're nowhere near done in this area from that tornado they had just a couple of weeks ago. So now they have to deal with the risk of flooding, unfortunately, in those areas. Pittsburgh's on that list as well. Some thunderstorms will produce locally heavy downpours this weekend. Worse than disrupting hikes, games, and barbecues, the heaviest downpours can trigger localized flash flooding. A few thunderstorms may also become severe with damaging winds. Whether storms become severe or not, all residents celebrating Father's Day outdoors are reminded to seek shelter as soon as thunder is heard. And it shows us the storm track into next week as well. Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, on eastward, New York, Pennsylvania, the capital region of New York, parts of Boston will see heavier weather and possibility of the chance of severe weather. A young man and woman were struck and killed by lightning fishing at Mammoth Park outside of Pittsburgh on Thursday, the first lightning fatalities in Pennsylvania since August of 2016. And it just goes on to read about the dangers of lightning and whatnot, get out of a storm. And I've said this several times too, guys. I've seen too many people out there taking footage of these storms and tornadoes. Get out. Get safe. Do not risk your life or your safety for footage or notoriety of any kind, because it's just not worth it. So let's go ahead and take a look at our GFS. First, let's take a look at the El Nino that's still kind of holding on right now. Very neutral to moderate El Nino at a 0.74, I believe, above baseline. Yeah, 0.71 above baseline. The North Atlantic has been struggling to get back above baseline. So we have cool waters still in the Northern Atlantic. And as of this moment, I mean, we're not even talking about any kind of disruptions at all with any kind of hurricanes, or even in the Pacific. We haven't even heard much from that as well. So let's take a look at our GFS outlook. And by the way, I just saw an article not too long ago that is going to improve the predictability on the GFS model better than ever. There's some updates that are being done to GFS, and I'm almost wondering if they're already installed, because I've noticed this year especially that as much as people trust the European and other models that seem to run a lot closer to the reality of what's happening, I have seen a lot better ideas, at least, from GFS models than the Europeans. Not saying the Europeans are wrong, they're pretty close too. There's not much difference in between the two. They're slightly different, but there are differences. And I think GFS is only going to get better from here. But taking a look, we already talked about what we're going to have over the weekend for Father's Day across the Midwest. The South gets a little bit of a break. Thank God. Most of this is going to be in Ohio to the northeast. Heavy rain in Chicago into the Great Lakes. Some shower activity across Colorado, and then into Kansas, moving in eastward again, redeveloping as if the atmosphere reloads by Monday across the same regions, the Ohio River Valley, Tulsa, Oklahoma City. You guys are looking at some heavy rain early next week, along with parts of Arkansas and northern Louisiana. And boy, this just hangs out in Oklahoma, Tulsa. You guys, heavy amounts of rain. We're going to have to watch again for flooding, and it's going to be in a quick amount of time. It's not going to be a long-lasting event, but there's going to be plenty of moisture that falls. And this is where we get past to midweek next week, and we see the constant track of moisture running through Ohio Valley, going to the Atlantic states. Here's another system by June 20th. This is the third system. Finally, this is making its way up through the Northeast as well, but also track that we are looking at lots of rain near the Great Lakes. There was an article that I really should have read the other night. I'm going to have to break it out next week, talking about how much higher the Great Lakes are. But here we are next weekend. Well, this is probably our third system that goes through the Ohio Valley, through the Atlantic states. This time, this system moves up to the Northeast. And GFS is indicating that we will see more rain across America's heartland, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, into Kentucky and Tennessee on next weekend, and just kind of just over and over in the same areas. Missouri, Wichita, Kansas City, heavy rain in central Illinois and southwestern Indiana, moving across through next weekend. And again, every 24 hours, it just seems like another part of the atmosphere is reloading and putting more heavy rain. And guys, all this heavy rain that's happening here, if we look, I'm going to have to focus in. I want to bring out my handy dandy arrow. Guys, watch all the moisture right here. I'm going to leave the arrow right here. Watch all the moisture that we see funneling into the Mississippi River. Watch. One storm system, 24 hours later, there's another weak one. Here's more rain here, more rain here. Moving forward in the future, more heavy rains affecting that same region. They don't need the flood. They don't need any of this. And GFS is really revealing some heavy rain. And guys, I'm going to stop it right here. This represents the jet stream right now. This is why we are seeing those cooler temperatures up here in the northern parts in the Northeast. This is why we keep seeing this moisture just coming down from the Northwest and pounding the same areas over and over again in Kansas, Nebraska, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi, Western Tennessee, and then of course the Ohio Valley keeps continuing. That's because we're seeing this jet stream, flattening out and then coming out and then dipping down a little bit further, bringing the rain into this. I mean, every area, the Midwest and the Atlantic states, is going to get their fair share of moisture over the next 2 weeks, no doubt. And there's North Carolina. Just as I say that, every section of the Midwest, the Northeast, and the Atlantic states, June 29th, they're indicating some heavy precipitation in the Carolinas into Virginia. And then, of course, we see this common nosedive moisture coming from the Northwest once again. And again, this is where our jet stream dip is going to be. So this pattern doesn't look like it's going to let up anytime soon. But what's interesting to watch is how much cooler it's going to get in the Northeast. Now, also, I want to point out that we are looking at a pretty significant heat increase as well to the south and the southwest, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right now, this is our current temperatures. As we move through Father's Day, it's going to be fairly decent everywhere across the United States. Some spots will be extra chilly than usual, but for the most part, I mean, we're looking at solid mid-60s to lower 80s on Father's Day. But the heat starts to come back here on Sunday in the south, all the way from South Carolina to Southern California. We are looking at readings in the 90s, and as we move forward into early next week, we have more 90s still appearing across the south. But again, the rest of the country, 60s and 70s littered all over the place, and it's June 17th. These are overnight lows right here for the 18th. And then we get into Tuesday morning, mid-afternoon. Here we go. Once again, the heat is on in the south. South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and Southern California. You guys in Florida, can't forget you. You guys are going to see the bulk of this heat over the next several weeks. The rest of the United States, I feel, is struggling to look at summer-like temperatures. The spots that NOAA and weather.com have predicted to be cool for this summer, look at these. This is the area that we were talking about cooler temperatures. And look at it. We're seeing that. 60s and 70s. And it's June 18th. Keep moving forward. We will see more heat building up in the west and in the southwest. And there's that dangerous heat, that triple-digit heat in California. We got to really watch for that snowpack melt too, guys. But the heat isn't going anywhere starting on the 18th. Continue to see very warm temperatures in the deep south. Texas, I said this a couple broadcasts ago, by the 20th, you guys are going to be hot. Very, very hot. And that's typical down here. But these might be more like July, August temperatures for you folks here in Texas, as we're seeing some very, very high temperatures here for June, at least. June 21st. And then look at that, overnight lows again. We're going to be freezing in parts of the upper elevations across Idaho, Colorado, Montana. And so the hundreds will stick around in the south in the 90s. And just really, guys, unseasonably cool. Here we are, a date of Saturday, June 22nd. The high temperature in the northwest, 65 degrees. In the northeast, in Maine, it's 57 degrees. Upstate New York, you're looking at a high of 62 degrees. 62 degrees at June 23rd. Texas, you guys are going to be baking. Same with Arizona and Southern California. Deep South, I'd say you're about normal at this time. 80s, but then we start to see some heat kicking up again in the Carolinas and Florida and across the Deep South on Sunday, June 23rd. And this pattern will just continue to stay where we will see the bulk of this heat, guys, in the South. And the reason for that, the reason why we're seeing 90s and 100s, a lot of the areas that aren't quite as hot, we could also complement the moisture that we have on the ground to keep these temperatures down as well. But look at this. June 26th. I mean, it is going to be hot. Texas is about probably, I would say they're going to be breaking some records, in my opinion. With this heat wave is going to be here for a little while. Temperatures in the almost 110 range in parts of Arizona. Just extreme heat. And of course, by the end of June, we're looking at extreme heat across South Carolina in the hundreds, all the way across from South Carolina to Southern California. June 27th looks to be a hot one. And then look at these temperature readings here. Parts of Arizona, 114 degrees Fahrenheit. June 28th. And again, the daytime highs from Virginia to Southern California, just in that region, we're going to be in the hundreds. But look at that. We're cool, in my opinion, the Northeast and the upper Great Lakes, 60s and 70s for highs. Not even at June 29th. Parts of Ohio, 75 degrees in northeast Ohio and northwest Ohio. Detroit, Michigan, 74 for a high, June 29th. So all that heat, folks, that cold air pushing down from the Arctic is containing it to the south. And I'm not one to brag, but I did say we were going to see a hot summer this year in the south, in the deep south and the southwest. And that's where it's taking shape right now so far. I'm not saying we won't see some heat waves in Ohio and Kentucky and Indiana. I mean, they'll come. We usually do get a heat wave or two. But right now, it's kind of shocking to see how temperatures are just moderately cool, and we're just absolutely baking in the Southwest.
You're bacon?
Bacon. Like the Baconator at Wendy's. All right, guys. So that's my cue to wrap it up when I got the peanut gallery continuing their comments. Gotta love her, though, folks.
It's been a long day, Jake. I'm
really
tired.
It's been a long week.
We're both really tired, actually. Have you guys noticed? We've been putting out some
I've been tongue-tied so much today. It's not even
tired.
funny.
There's so much to keep up with. Hello, everyone in the chat. I promised Grant I'd give him a shout-out. He said shout out to Grant while he's driving back home from work. Listening
Grant.
Listening to the GSM about the GSM. So, hey, Grant, what's up? Rain, he's making a rare appearance. We haven't seen him in the chat in a while.
Hello, David.
He went down through farm country last weekend, and the corn's looking pretty sad. Brown stalks in the lower third of the stalks. So, yeesh. We got, it looks like Malcolm in Australia says they have the most snow on high country for the past 20 years. Someone was asking about Hello, Waylon, our puppy dog. Valentina Zarkova's peer-reviewed paper, asking about that. It has been accepted, and it's just going through final edits. It's still under embargo. You need to log in to see it. We'll be discussing that with her as soon as it's available to the public, which is probably within the next 2 weeks, I believe. We'll see. Let's see what else. I don't know, Jake. There's so much. Rain's brother moved from Wisconsin to Northeast Arkansas because of the weather. Yeesh. Feel sort of bad about that. Sorry to hear that. And then Ian's in the chat. He says places in the UK have been flooding that haven't flooded before, and he's convinced all his family in the UK to start growing food. So that is great that you have been able to actually convince people to do something. I find it quite difficult for my friends and family to grasp like the direness of the situation. So anyway, somebody said love you, Mari. Oh, hello. Thank you. Okay, Jake, that's all I have. The Teespring t-shirt store, we have free shipping, and I blasted that off on Twitter and Facebook. I'll put a link in the community tab also.
Free shipping only? That's it?
Right now. Don't be jerk.
Just trying to help out the common man, that's all.
The free shipping. I might have
that's
a special next month. I don't know, but it's there. I had that coupon code, and last month no one used it, Jake. People bought stuff, but they didn't use the coupon code.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So maybe I will get a new coupon code. I got to generate one. Maybe I'll do that. I'll post it tomorrow. You talked me into it, Jake. You drive a hard deal there.
Yeah, I am. I'm decent in the sales industry, I guess I should say. So, yeah.
So that's all I got. Do we have anything planned for tomorrow?
No.
We'll just break the show up.
Father's Day weekend. Yeah, we'll break this show up into 3 pieces for y'all tomorrow to kind of chew on a little bit and watch your favorite sections. So we will be off of the air Saturday and Sunday. Unless something major is happening, we will be in with any kind of breaking news. But our next live show is going to be Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And also Monday morning, be ready for the solar update report that we do Monday through Friday as well. That's going to do it for us tonight, guys. Thank you once again for tuning in to this epic episode of the Grand Solar Minimum News. Ian wants my face on camera. Maybe someday, my friend. Someday. But
Happy Father's Day, everyone.
And I say thank you to watching the epic episode because of the explanation on why Solar Cycle 25 is expected to usher in Grand Solar Minimum conditions. It's all here, guys. It's all right here in our face. Take this weekend. Absorb this information. Be ready for Monday because who knows, we might have a live question and answer type thing going on in the chat at the end of the show. That's going to do it for us tonight, guys. Have a happy Father's Day weekend, and we will talk soon.